What if the largest tigers ever to walk the earth were not just legends, but real creatures that scientists have actually measured and tracked? Throughout history, people have spoken of tigers so enormous they seemed impossible animals stretching longer than a small car and carrying more weight than a heavy motorcycle. These were not fantasies. These giants truly walked the forests of India and Russia. Today, we are going to meet four of these legendary beasts. A scarred king who ruled for 17 years, a young giant still roaming Corbett, a Siberian phantom from the remote Russian wilderness, and a captive titan who holds the record for size. Let us begin with a tiger whose face was carved with deep scars and whose name struck fear into every creature that crossed his path. A tiger whose face carried deep marks and whose presence made every living thing in his territory freeze. Let us begin in the wilderness, where genuine rulers are created through struggle and survival. Introduce yourself to Wagdo, the well-known Bengal tiger from Tadoba, Maharashtra. The nearby people called him Scarface due to the severe cuts on his face. His formal label was T33. Wagdo arrived in the world during the mid-2000s in the Wagdo region, close to the reserve's eastern edge, the area that gave him his identity. His family background, while not completely recorded, is thought to come from a strong line of dominant Tadoba tigers. From his youngest days, Wagdo drew attention not only for his body size but for his attitude. He acted fearless, clever, and did not shy away from people. He quickly gained control over huge areas of land, first in the edge zones and later inside Tadoba's main forest. During his strongest years, Wagdo was a giant. Forest workers and wildlife scientists listed him as one of the largest wild Bengal tigers ever found in India. He carried roughly 270 kilograms, had a chest size of 136 centimeters, and a body reaching beyond 2 meters. Some local guides and villagers murmured that he might have weighed 300 kilograms, a statement impossible to prove but not hard to accept for anyone who saw him up close. What made him so huge? His size likely came from good genes, plenty of prey within his area, and his skill at keeping the best hunting grounds free from other males. The Tadoba forest, filled with plant-eating animals like gaur, sambar, and wild pigs, gave him steady access to rich, energy-filled meals. Over time, his form grew solid with muscle, one layer after another, turning him into a living machine of quiet power. Wagdo stayed in charge for more than 10 years, a very long rule in the unstable world of wild tigers. His land stretched through main forest areas, edge zones, and even reached close to train lines between Chandrapur and Gondia. He reportedly fathered around 40 cubs. His blood still flows strongly through the park. Many of the reserve's current top tigers carry signs of his line, his body shape, his face structure, his silent but deadly nature. As Wagdo grew older, he slowly pulled back from fighting for his area. His walking slowed, his coat thinned, but his presence never faded. Wild tigers rarely survive beyond 15 years, but Wagdo beat the odds, reaching 17 years of age, proving his strength and ability to adjust. In May 2022, forest workers found his body next to a dry creek in Sindala. No fight marks, no signs of attack, simply a quiet ending in the forest he once controlled. But Wagdo was not the only giant to ever walk the earth. In 2025, talk began moving through another well-known park, and what they discovered there was still breathing. A tiger so big that anyone who saw him could hardly trust their own eyes. In 2025, whispers started spreading through Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. A tiger of incredible size had been seen. They gave him the name Hercules, standing above the forest floor with a body that challenged belief. Hercules measured nearly 7 feet in body length, not counting his tail. Add another 3 feet for that, and you get a tiger close to 10 feet from nose to tail tip. His weight reached an amazing 300 kilograms. To put that into perspective, this tiger weighed as much as a heavy motorcycle and maybe even stronger. His exact age remains unclear, but field experts think he is between 6 and 8 years old. His area covers roughly 60 to 80 square kilometers, full of prey and free from competing males. In the edge woodlands of Corbett's Fodder Zone, Hercules was building a name for himself. Why is he so large? Experts think the Fodder Zone's rich food supply and the lack of rival males let him grow without limits. His measurements have not yet been officially confirmed, but several camera trap pictures support the unusual size. His age, family line, and mating history stay unknown. But for now, Hercules moves as a giant. He may be the largest wild tiger still living in Asia. But is he the largest wild tiger ever found? That honor belongs to a ghost from the Russian wilderness, a giant that came from one of the most distant corners of the planet, where people rarely go and nature still runs untouched. Far away in one of Earth's most isolated and wild corners lies a world rarely seen by human eyes. Here in the center of the Sikhote-Alin Biosphere Reserve, the air seems to carry old stories. This land is ruled not by people, but by claws and teeth. In 2019, scientists and wildlife protectors found something so amazing that it shocked them. A tiger. But not any tiger. This one was bigger than any ever recorded in the wild. This male Siberian tiger broke all expectations. Estimated to weigh an incredible 383 kilograms, roughly 844 pounds, and reaching 3.4 meters over 11 feet from nose to tail. This top hunter was likely the largest wild tiger ever written down. To meet a tiger of this size is not just unusual, it is historic. But how could such a giant exist? First, consider the food. The Sikhote-Alin Reserve overflows with life. Herds of red deer, sika deer, and wild pigs move through the bushes. For a hunter of his size, this land offers a feast of high-energy, protein-filled meals. Second, maybe he carried a bit of genetic good fortune, a natural gift from large, healthy parents. Then there is the forest itself. Here in the cold center of the Russian Far East, nature shows both cruelty and kindness. Winter temperatures drop far below zero. To survive, tigers must be tough, and size in this climate becomes a survival tool. A larger body holds heat better. A wider frame moves through deep snow. His weight was not a problem. It was a perfect fit for the cold. But maybe the biggest factor was room. This male roamed a huge area, hundreds of square kilometers, without fences, roads, or rivals. In these distant lands, human disturbance is very small and competition is rare. Without stress, without hunger, without fights, a tiger can eat well, live long, and grow freely. This male was almost surely the top cat, unchallenged and unbeaten. For such tigers, food is never far, and battles are few. In peace, he had time to grow. In strength, he had the power to lead. Simply put, he was the result of a perfect mix of isolation, plenty, and ancient wildlands. Such giants do not happen by chance. They show what the natural world can still produce when we leave it room to breathe. But as large as this Siberian ghost was, he still could not match the size of a tiger who never needed to catch a single meal. A tiger who never felt hunger, never faced a rival, and never had to fight for his life. No tiger, wild or captive, has ever reached the size of Jaipur. Raised in a controlled setting in New Jersey by animal trainer Joan Byron Marasek, Jaipur was a Siberian tiger born into a life without struggle. He never hunted, never fought, never worked to survive. At 9 years old, Jaipur weighed more than 420 kilograms and measured 3.32 meters long. Some reports say he reached 465 kilograms before his death in 1999. He holds the record as the largest tiger ever recorded. His size came not only from his genes. Life in captivity meant regular food, healthcare, and no natural dangers. But Jaipur's story also brings up questions about how large an animal can become when nature's pressures are removed, and what gets lost along the way. He was a giant, but a giant locked behind barriers. Only in perfect conditions, plenty of prey, no competition, little stress, can a tiger grow into a true giant. But larger is not always better. Bigger tigers need more food. They must cover more ground. They may have trouble with silence, which is key for catching prey by surprise. Their size helps them and hurts them at the same time. Wagdo succeeded because he balanced his size with smart tactics. Hercules is still writing his own story. The Siberian giant thrived in untouched wild lands. Jaipur, though huge, never had to survive, only to exist. Every tiger carries a story, not just of living, but of whole forests, balance, and shared life. Size may grab our attention, but survival tells the real tale. Wagdo, scarred, huge, and powerful, taught us about patience and leadership. Hercules shows that India's forests still have space for legends if we protect them. The Siberian giant showed that wild, untouched nature still holds secrets. And Jaipur, larger than any tiger before or after, reminds us that size without struggle means nothing. Each of these tigers in their own way calls us to pay attention. They tell us that protecting tigers is not about chasing records, but about saving forests, wildlife paths, prey animals, and the fragile connections that hold everything together.